right, calling this meeting of the Township of Ocean Planning Board to order. Nicole, would you sit and have a roll call, please?
Okay. Councilwoman Kaplan?
Here.
Mr. Beal?
Here.
Mr. Berkowitz? Mr. Goslin?
Here.
Mr. Manel?
Here.
Ms. Valente?
Here.
Mr. Bodnovich? Mr. Maney?
Here.
Vice Chairman Palutis?
Here.
And Chairman DeFilippo.
Here. Salute to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. The notice requirements of the open public meeting law for this meeting have been satisfied. A copy of the notice having been sent to the Asbury Park Press and the Coaster and filed in the office of the Township Clerk. There is an emergency exit through the courtroom doors over there and 2 exits to the rear of the room. There is no smoking, and that includes e-cigarettes and vapes. Board policy is that no new cases will be started after 10 p.m. and no new testimony taken after 10:30 p.m. In addition, the applicant will be limited to 45 minutes of testimony. All meetings will be video and audio taped and shown on the Township of Ocean's Community Cable Channel, Channel 77 on Verizon Fios, and Channel 77 on Cablevision. Please turn off all of your cell phones, and if you need to make a call, please step out of the meeting room. All right, to start tonight, we have a presentation from CME Associates. Come on up to the table.
Thank you. Okay, buddy.
Yes, please.
Good evening, everyone. I am Chris Stockney, professional planner with CME Associates. I'm here because, plan was supposed to be here in January, and it's supposed to be here in February, but your meetings, a little bit of snow happened, and you guys decided you didn't want to have a meeting because you didn't want to all plow through the snow to get here, and you want to stay home nice and cozy, I guess, and I did the same thing. But I'm here to present to you and discuss a redevelopment plan for the areas known as Block 1.22, lots 33 and 34. I think most of you were here last year, maybe it was November or December of last year, it might have been actually. I was here before you to discuss the redevelopment study that designated these properties an area needed redevelopment. So now we're moving on to the next step of the redevelopment process. As I mentioned 4 or 5 months ago, redevelopment is essentially a 10-step process. The redevelopment designation was step number 2. This is essentially step number 4. So the governing body has accepted the report that I had done many months ago, and the recommendation from you all that that area met the criteria to be designated an area in need of redevelopment under the New Jersey statutes. The next step in the process after the designation is that a redevelopment plan be prepared for the area, which is essentially a standalone zoning ordinance just for this particular piece of property. And then what's required under New Jersey municipal land use law as well as the local redevelopment and housing law is that any changes to your land use codes have to come before this board. So it is technically an ordinance that will be eventually adopted if they choose by your town council, but it has to be reviewed by this board before they can act on it, because you have to make a determination as to whether you find it consistent or inconsistent with your municipal master plan, which you as the planning board have the sole jurisdiction over preparing and adopting a master plan. So the governing body cannot act on this document to make it new law until they have heard a recommendation from you. So that means I'm going to move into what this plan is, a little bit of an overview of the property again. As I said, it's block 1.22, lots 33 and 34, and in case you don't have your tax maps committed to memory, that is 1211 and 1213 West Park Avenue. That's 2 properties that currently are developed with essentially twin senior housing developments that were, so I'm forgetting the exact term, they're not quite assisted living facilities, not quite independent living facilities, both of which have been struggling, and one of them completely vacant other than the kitchen. The other has 4 of 15 rooms occupied. So of the total 30 rooms in those 2 facilities, only 4 are occupied as a senior residence right now. So that facility has been struggling. That's what ultimately led to that redevelopment designation. So after that designation, what the township has put forward in an ordinance, which our office prepared working with the town council and your redevelopment council at McMahon, Scotland, Bowman, is a plan for the area to essentially take down the 2 senior living homes and new construction of up to 30 townhouses in the area. So, another important point here, this is technically, the redevelopment plan would serve as an overlay zoning district. So the existing underlying zoning would still be in place, so the current property owners are not losing any of their current property rights. This is just a new set of property right development rights that if they choose to move forward as a redeveloper can negotiate with the town on specific terms. and proceed as a designated redeveloper and would be able to build townhouses. So this includes, similar to a zoning ordinance, list of permitted uses, which under the redevelopment would be only townhouses or recreation uses, accessory uses, which is standard things for residences such as parking, signage, fences, walls, patios, those sorts of things, and general bulk standards of front yard setback, side yard setback, maximum impervious coverage, all the same sorts of things you see in a zoning ordinance is captured in this plan, and anything not expressly captured in this plan, your existing code would govern any land use there. The off-street parking requirements are just the RSI's parking requirements that would apply anyway. And then there's some additional architectural and circulation and landscaping standards here that just ensure we get a higher quality development rather than just somebody building, for lack of a better term, throwing up some crappy boxes and saying they're meeting all the standards. Another important thing to note here, we're not approving any actual development application tonight. I'm not here before you as a developer. Ultimately, the owners of the property, I believe it is their intent to develop very similar to this plan. They would bring a site plan before this board, so there's no, you're not actually approving a development yet, so we're not here to talk about traffic or it's the specific safety of ingress or egress onto Park Avenue there, or the exact bedroom configuration, or the look of any particular townhomes. I can't tell you exactly how they're going to look, how many gables they're going to have, what color the shutters are going to be, or anything like that. That would all come during a site plan review and a full set of site plan drawings, architectural drawings, environmental impact statement. All of those things will be provided to this board at that time. And that being said, as I mentioned earlier, the primary role of the planning board in redevelopment at this stage is to review the plan for consistency with your master plan. And the page 12 of the redevelopment plan, there is a section discussing the current goals and objectives of your master plan and your master plan land use element, and why I think this is consistent of it, and some of the goals that this would be not enforcing, but enriching, I guess you could say. Some of those is to encourage the appropriate, promote a desirable visual environment through creative development techniques, provide sufficient space in appropriate locations for a variety of residential uses, as well as your master plan recognizes that there has been quite a loss over the past decade of a certain population demographic, namely those in the sort of the 25 to 44-year-old age range. So people my age and a little bit younger than me, you've lost quite a bit of those over the last decade. And one of the goals here in building townhouses would be to attract some younger people to the area. Another objective of your master plan is to ensure there's a balanced supply of varied housing types available to current and prospective future populations within the township. I think that would be, this plan would be directly helping to achieve that goal. Your land use plan identifies a few areas in town where townhouses would otherwise be permitted, and most of those are already fully built out. In addition, your housing plan doesn't necessarily identify this as targeted for affordable housing, but this would also still be consistent with, I believe, your housing plan. And then the plan as required has a section on going through how it impacts neighboring municipalities as well as the state plan. I don't know that I need to go over that with you. This is sort of in the middle of the town, not too close to other municipalities. It'll have minimal impact on your neighbors. And this is, in my opinion, also consistent with the state development and redevelopment plan, which was just adopted, which calls for more intensive developments in the planning area 1 and planning area 2 mapped areas of the state, which the majority of Ocean Township is planning area 2, the suburban planning area. So this is in an area where the state would encourage redevelopment. The state has already been sent a copy of the redevelopment designation, and my understanding is DCA had no objection to the redevelopment designation on this property. That being said, that's really my entire presentation to you. What the law requires is a motion from this body either finding this plan to be consistent or inconsistent with your master plan, as well as it does provide that you are allowed to give the governing body any feedback that you wish to provide, whether that, aside from the consistency review. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Does the board have any questions? I have a question, a couple questions. So currently it is zoned for residential, and we are talking about putting denser residential in the same spot. My concern with this, since it is exclusively residential uses, where are these folks going to go for anything? When we talk about our open space and recreation, commerce, religious, what's near this that they're going to be able to get to?
Off the top of my head, I don't know that there's any parks within walking distance of this site. Certainly at a maximum of 30 townhouses, I don't think that's a sufficient density where they would be providing substantial on-site recreation. Now, there very well could be, say, like a walking trail or something provided here, but I don't think they're gonna be providing a tot lot necessarily. I typically don't see those until you start hitting anywhere, 100 or more units in a single residential development. To be completely honest, I don't have an answer of exactly where they would go for parks and recreation or, say the nearest coffee shop off the top of my head.
And I think that's my only concern with this, is that every single activity is gonna generate car trips. Every one of them. There are no parks for them to walk to. There's West Park. I'm sure that anyone who sat in that pickup line in the morning or drop-off line going to the intermediate school knows how crazy that street can get. It's dangerous to walk on. They don't allow students to walk down West Park to get to the school that is within walking distance of this facility, because it's not safe. So what do you suggest that could be done to make this redevelopment meet more of the community's needs, to kind of mitigate what 30 additional homes worth of car trips down one of the major corridors in town would entail?
Well, it's quite a question, to be honest with you.
That's our job up here.
To be completely honest, I think you're talking about much larger issues and can be addressed through one single development, but what this does allow through redevelopment, as opposed to standard development of somebody just bringing a subdivision or site plan to the planning board, is the town that does have the ability to negotiate with a developer to provide for off-site improvements to the extent that there is any particular need that's identified. That can be asked of the redeveloper that they either provide something or provide or pay their a prorated share of their impact on any off-site recreation or community facilities. So that is something that could potentially be addressed through a redevelopment agreement, not necessarily through the redevelopment plan itself.
When you were developing this plan, did you consider mixed use at all for minor retail to be incorporated?
That wasn't necessarily the scope of what I was told of what the town was looking for here. That potentially, if that's a comment you want to make to the governing body, that could be something that ultimately gets included in the plan if they wish to do that. My general opinion, I don't know that there would be much of a market for non-residential development on this exact property. There might be some potential for something very small.
I mean, it goes back to what I'm saying, is that there's nothing to walk to in that area, and there was a major development directly across the street 12 years ago or so. So there has been a lot of development in housing that has gone into a portion of town that is not served by other resources. So as we are looking to put more residential there, and I think everyone on this dais knows that I'm a big proponent of appropriately placed density, that we should be looking at other resources to go along with it, instead of putting them out where everything requires a car trip. And not even a bike trip, just a car trip, because bikes on West Park also probably not the safest idea. Anyone else have comments, questions, thoughts they want to share before besides me still talking?
I want to, agree with your, there's no sidewalks on either side. These folks couldn't walk to the middle school currently. There's no safe passage on either side of West Park. There is a playground, but again, you can't walk to it at the municipal, down the street.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But you can't walk to it. There's no safe, way to traverse that. And I don't know if you looked at that, football field there, there's the playground and there's municipal gyms there. And then on the other side is our, intermediate school. We have soccer fields and we have summer camps there. But there's no safe passage there at all. There's really not. Everything requires a car trip. And if you've been in that line in the morning, it's very dangerous and it's just going to increase the traffic there for folks. So again, a lot of good points. I know we're not voting on all that and talking about that, but.
But we can make a recommendation to the governing body.
We really need to. Question on the 30 proposed. I didn't see, approximate size. Like, what's the square footage? I saw 3-bedroom, but I didn't, did I miss anything?
We're not specifying a size in here. We're not setting a minimum or a maximum. My assumption is they'd be somewhere in the range of 2,000 square feet is a typical house that's being built these days. But there's no official minimum or maximum outside of it. There's a minimum or maximum in your current code.
No, not for the code, I just, trying to propose 30, I was trying to, that, it's pretty dense, I didn't know.
I guess it would be roughly 2,000 square feet, give or take a few hundred feet either way.
Does the ordinance have a floor area ratio maximum?
I
'Cause
don't
that might
believe
be
I
one
do.
way to control the size. Because if you have 30 units on 3 acres,
Thank you.
if you have a floor area ratio, then you could,
No, there's no FAR
yeah.
standard within this code, within this ordinance. But, yeah, they would be somewhat limited in size, and, building height would also, what do we have for the maximum building height here? Maximum building height of 35 feet, which would be roughly, that's a standard residential height of, we typically see in single-family districts.
Anybody else? No, Mark, just correct me if I'm wrong, this is the master plan consistency, so we can just vote on this straight out, or?
Let me ask, just for, has the council actually introduced this plan?
Yes.
The council introduced it, okay, so that's the only reason it's coming here then, is for the consistency. Yeah, that's what it is, consistency, and you put in your recommendations.
Okay. All right, so, can I have a motion to find or not find this plan consistent with the master plan? And if consistent with the master plan, to pass along the board's recommendations to explore additional opportunities for resources to be placed there? Someone wants to make a motion for or against? For?
Four.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Beal. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Kaplan?
Yes.
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Mr. Goslin?
Yes.
Mr. Manal?
Yes.
Ms. Valente?
Yes.
Mr. Maney?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Palutis?
Yes.
And Chairman DeGilia?
Yes. All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, our next order of business is 465 West Park LLC, 465 and 461 West Park Avenue, Block 5.02, lots 27.01 and 27.02 in the R4 zone. And I believe we have Mr. Brodsky.
Anthony Starro and
Oh.
Blake Brodsky tonight.
Oh, okay, well now I'm way off.
My colleague, he said. Good evening, Chairman and Board members. My name is Anthony Starro with the law firm of Ansel Grimm and Aaron here tonight on behalf of the applicant. So, short story short, this board previously granted a minor subdivision approval and lot width variances for this property back in 2024 to create 2 vacant building lots, both of which were more than double the required lot area. The subdivision has since been perfected. I'm here tonight essentially just for the purpose of tidying things up and straightening out a representation made at that previous hearing. So originally, the subdivision plan approved by the board showed a 15-foot right-of-way easement being granted to the county for each lot, subject to county approval. Well, the county planning board required that we instead grant right-of-way dedications rather than the easements. The applicant's engineer at the time tried requesting a waiver from the county to allow for the easements instead, but that request wasn't granted. Notably, the subdivision deed was released and recorded before the dedication deeds were recorded. So essentially, the dedications are identical in size and location to the easements shown on the 2024 plans before this board, but obviously that means that the resultant lot areas are now about 1,200 square feet less than what was represented and technically approved. However, both lots are still over 22,000 square feet each, whereas a minimum of 10,000 square feet is required. In other words, more than twice the required size. The previously granted lot width variances are unaffected, and no new variances arose from the dedications. Nothing new is really being proposed, it's all done, but since the resultant lots are slightly smaller than what was previously contemplated, this application is simply to straighten out the record. To quote directly from Mr. Higgins' report, the purpose of this application is simply to ratify the changes created by the required dedication. So I have one more point to make after Mark, if you want to do evidence, and then I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, so we'll mark in Exhibit A1 is the variance plan itself. A2 can be the Monmouth County Planning Board final approval. A3 will be the recorded subdivision deed. A4 will be the survey of the property. for proposed lot 27.01. A5 will be proposed, the survey of proposed lot 27.02. A6 will be the minor subdivision plan. And then as far as the board exhibits, we have exhibit B1 is the board planner's letter, B2 will be the board engineer's report, and B3 will be the planning board resolution dated November 25th, 2024.
Okay. So just one additional point, the plans that were submitted as A6, the minor subdivision plan, were inadvertently submitted showing proposed houses on the lots for demonstrative purposes, except the plans aren't very clear that they are for demonstrative purposes. We're not proposing any new constructions, it's 2 vacant lots that have already been subdivided, and the dedication's already occurred. We're not proposing any new construction this time. So I just want to make clear that there's no proposed houses, no proposed driveways, anything like that at this time.
All right. Professionals, you guys got anything?
The only thing I have is that all applicable conditions for the prior approval should be included if you choose to approve it, and that the tree removal ordinance in place at the time of application for building permits should be the one that applies to any proposed building permits, and that any street trees that are required by the ordinance should be put in prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy.
And we're okay with all of that.
Okay. Does the board have any questions? Seeing none. Open it up for members of the public. Is there anyone from the public who has questions on this?
Just kidding.
It's all to
You're welcome to ask questions, Ms. Grimco.
Listen, be nice to him, because if you're nice to him, I'm gonna keep sending him and not Cook.
All right, so seeing no members. Oh, no, you have to come up and introduce yourself. And do we have a microphone for him? One second, sir. And just introduce your name and your address for the record, and then you can ask your question.
I'm just gonna swear you. Sir, I'm gonna swear you in. Do you swear your testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, just state your name for the record.
Son?
Hello,
Yeah, your name.
Giovanni Zalofra, 2005 Holbrook Street, Oakhurst.
I'm sorry, you said it way too fast.
Sorry.
Giovanni,
Zalofra,
you spell the last name,
Zolofra,
and your address?
2005 Holbrook Street.
Holbrook Street. All right, go ahead.
How many houses do they actually plan on building in those lots?
Well, right now, 0 houses are proposed, but originally the subdivision approval went from 1 extremely oversized lot to 2 oversized lots. So if the owner decides to come back in the future to build houses, it would be a maximum of 2, 1 on each lot.
That's not what I'm reading. That's not what I'm reading on this
Wrong
paper.
case,
You-
wrong case.
Oh, wrong case?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my bad.
No worries.
But.
Okay. Anyone else from the public have a question? All right, can I have a motion to close public comment? Moved by Mr. Lewis, a second. Seconded by Mr. Manel. We do all in favor, right?
No.
Now roll call, please.
Who was the first? I'm sorry, I missed it.
It was Vice Chair Palutis.
Okay, and the second was Mr. Manel?
Mr. Manel.
Okay. Councilwoman Kaplan?
Yes.
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Mr. Goslin?
Yes.
Mr. Manel?
Yes.
Mr. Mamie?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Palutis?
Yes.
And Chairman DeFilia?
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
Well, that was just a closed public comment.
That's
Oh, that wasn't the.
That was public comment,
Oh,
yeah.
that could have been all.
That's what I
It
thought.
wasn't just.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
something we
It's the
didn't know.
first and second.
We haven't been here in 2 months, we forget what we're doing. All right, now can I have does someone want to make a motion to approve this amendment?
I'll move.
Moved by Mr. Mimi, do I have a second? Seconded by Mr. Manel. Again, now can we have another roll call?
Absolutely.
So can
Councilwoman
I clarify,
Kaplan?
it's just for the subdivision?
Subdivision with all of the
All the
points that
That's it.
Mr.
It's
Higgins.
technically an amendment to the previous resolution.
Just so it's clear for the
Yeah.
record, we can still propose.
Yeah.
It's just for the sub, and all your.
It's moving of a lot line is what it
Yeah.
comes down to. Right.
Thank you.
Okay. So Councilwoman Kaplan?
Yes.
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Mr. Goslin?
Yes.
Mr. Manel?
Yes.
Mr. Mamie?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Palutis?
Yes.
And Chairman DeFilia?
Yes.
Now, thank you.
All right, there we go.
I apologize. I thought you guys were voting on these. we both thought the same thing, yeah.
All right, moving right along with our agenda this evening, we next have up 1309 Updike LLC, 1309 Updike Avenue, Block 110, Lot 7, in the R6 zone. And Mr. Ferraro?
Yes.
Oh, good, I got a right attorney tonight. Okay, here we go.
Good evening, members. John Ferraro from law firm Bruno and Ferraro, here on behalf of the applicant, 1309 Updike LLC. To my right is Frank Coloswano. He's a member of the LLC and will be testifying on behalf of the entity. Today we're here before the board regarding the property at 1309 Updike Avenue. It's an oversized lot. We're requesting to subdivide the lot into two separate lots. Lot 7.01 would be the existing lot with the existing single-family home on the property. My client's intention is to renovate that and to sell the property. On lot 702, the plan would be to build a conforming single-family home on the property, and they would like to then sell that property as well.
All right, so I'm gonna mark in the following exhibits. Exhibit A1 will be the variance plan, Exhibit A2 is the improvement plan. Those are the only two exhibits I have from the applicant. I then have the following exhibits on behalf of the board. Exhibit B1 will be the board planner's report, Exhibit B2 will be the board engineer's report. B3 will be the code enforcement memo, B4 will be the DPW memo, B5 will be the fire marshal's memo, B6 will be the traffic safety report, and B7 will be the crime prevention report. Those are all the exhibits I have, and you want me to swear in your witness?
Mr. Waxine, there's the memo.
We don't mark those in because, yeah, they can testify to that,
Okay.
so.
Gotcha. Sorry.
Ready? Do you swear any testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And just state your name again for the record?
Frank, last name is Coloswano, Colasuonno.
Okay, and your position with the LLC? You're the managing member?
Manager, yep.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Mr. Coloswano, you're a member of 1309 Updike LLC?
Yes,
Okay, and the entity owns the property located at 1309 Updike Avenue?
yes,
Okay, and you're here before the board to ask for a subdivision of the property, correct?
correct.
Okay, could you go over the plan for lot 7.01?
Sure. 7.01, we'll be renovating the existing house and selling it.
Okay, and then could you go over the plan for lot 7.02?
Correct. We'll be building a fully conforming home on the lot and selling it.
Okay, and just to confirm, both lots are fully in conformance with the zoning code?
Correct.
Okay, before the board, we are not requesting any variances?
We are not.
Can I just make one comment there, a minor correction, and I missed it too until tonight. The existing driveway on the lot with the residence on it, the existing residence, is very close to the property line. The ordinance requires it to be 5 feet from the property line. So since you're creating a new lot, there's a technical variance there, even though it's an existing condition that's not being impacted by the subdivision. To be handled one of 3 ways: the board could grant variance, the board could not grant the variance and require you to move it 5 feet from the property line, which could be done. Looking at the plan, it looks like that could be done without much of a problem. Or the third possibility is what boards have done with regard to sheds and accessory structures, is to allow it to remain in place, and if it's ever resurfaced or replaced, that it be moved 5 feet from the property line.
All right, so there's no such thing as a technical variance.
Yes, that's true.
So I need to know, does the notice include, does it request variance relief? Which I doubt it does. Because,
Sorry about bringing that up at the last minute, because I did not see it on the plan.
The applicant also reserves the right to request approval for all other variances or
okay,
design
not
waivers.
mentioned it. All right, so we'll let it through. So I need to, so it's the driveway is within 5 feet.
Of the existing southerly property line.
It's a pre-existing variance.
Pre-existing.
Okay. And how many feet is it?
It looks like it's right on the property line,
So it's 0?
0, yeah. It's not dimensioned, but
Okay.
it overlaps the lot lines.
Got it. I see it, Yep, yep. All right, so just the boards, it's not, that variance is not impacted by this application in any way, shape, or form. Because we're not changing anything on that side, but it is good that we're noting it.
Does the board, do you have anything else you want to say before we open to the board?
No.
Does the board have any questions?
Just want to be clear, we're taking a 100 by 200 lot, 50 by 100.
It's 100, roughly 100 by 100, and make it 50 by
100 by 100.
100. Yeah, and it's a zone that allows 50 by 100.
But it's conforming.
Yeah, fully.
Fully conforming. Yep.
I have a question or a recommendation. On lot 7.02, you have 3 large-sized trees right in the building envelope. So I would make a recommendation that part of resolution compliance, the tree replacement is done prior to getting the CO.
That's fine.
If you all agree with that.
So tree replacement prior to CO.
And street trees also.
So would that be 5 trees then? Because your report said 2, correct?
It's, should be 100 feet, so really 2.
2 and then plus the 3?
What?
Plus
Well,
the 3?
they could be included within the 3. That's where the ordinance reads.
Anything else from the board? All right, I'm gonna open up for public comment. Does anyone?
Can I just?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
You've been very quiet over there tonight.
That's all right. I just wanted to point out, there are a couple items in my report, and they were referred to basically things that were missing from the subdivision plan. I didn't have a copy of the improvement plan, but it has recently been given to me, and the improvement plan does address the comments in my report. So I don't have anything with the application.
Okay. All right, anything else?
That's it.
All right, we'll try that again. Open it up for comments from members of the public. Anyone have a question, comment, concern? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close public comment? Moved by Mr. Mamie, do I have a second? Seconded.
I think you said all.
Dr. Neal.
All in favor?
Okay.
All in favor? Aye, there we go. Okay, now, do I have a motion to approve the subdivision?
I'll motion.
Moved. Do I have a second? Seconded?
Mr. Kalidas, second?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Councilwoman Kaplan?
Yes.
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Mr. Goslin?
Yes.
Mr. Manal?
Yes.
Ms. Valente?
Yes.
Mr. Mamie?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Palutis?
Yes.
And Chairman DeFilia?
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
congrats.
Thank you. Okay. All right. The last one on the list for this evening, Bio Investment Group LLC, 702, 706 West Park Avenue, block 33.13, lots 28, 30, and 31 in the T1 zone, and 12 Pine Street, range easement only, block 33.13, lot 5 in the R4 zone. And we have Ms. Krumko. There you go, listen, 2 out of 3, I'll take it.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. As you know, Jennifer Krimko here on behalf of the applicant. I'm not going to be overexcited and jump right in like Anthony did. I'm going to pause for a moment and let Mark enter some exhibits, and then I'll give you a high-level summary, and we'll jump right into testimony.
All right, so Exhibit A1 will be the variance application itself. Exhibit A2 will be the Phase 1 environmental assessment. A3 will be Monmouth County Planning Board's request for more information. Exhibit A4 will be the photo location report. Exhibit A5 will be the environmental impact statement. Exhibit A6 will be the stormwater management manual. Exhibit A7 will be the stormwater management recharge analysis report. Exhibit A8 will be the boundary and topographic survey for lot 29. A9 will be the boundary and topographic survey for lot 30. A10 will be the topographic survey and boundary for lot 31. A12 11 will be the boundary and location and parcel topographic survey prepared by Dynamic Survey dated April 30th, 2025, last revised September 10th, 2025. And A12 will be the major subdivision and site plan prepared by Dynamic Engineering. And then I have the following board exhibits. Exhibit B1 will be the board planners report. Exhibit B2 will be the board engineers report. B3 will be the report from code enforcement. B4 will be the report from the DPW. B5 will be crime prevention's report. B6 will be the traffic safety report. B7 will be the fire marshal's report. B8 will be the environmental commission report. And B9, no, I'm not doing B9. That's it.
Thank you. And before I move in some of the exhibits, to help supplement the plans that were submitted, I just want to take a moment and walk you through high level what we're proposing here. This is property located on West Park Avenue, and previously, we all know there was I don't know how you would describe it, it was some kind of lawn service type location, and then it turned into a florist at one point. It's in the TI zone where the transition zone, is it TI or T1? I'm sorry, the T1, I know it's I1 or whatever. In the T1 zone, which allows for single-family homes, and it also allows for various commercial uses. What we're looking to do is convert it from a commercial use into essentially conforming single-family homes. Why do I say essentially? Well, as far as the number of homes contemplated for this lot, we're fully conforming. They want 10,000 square foot lots, we have 10,000 square feet or more for each of the lots. But because we don't want to have the lots necessarily front on West Park Avenue, and we want to be able to give it a residential street, we're building a cul-de-sac. When you build a cul-de-sac, what that does is it changes the dynamic and the angles of how the lots will front on that cul-de-sac. So as a result, even though we're exceeding the 10,000, some of the interior lots require lot width variances, which you're gonna hear through the testimony. We have a basin lot, which requires a bunch of variances because your ordinance wasn't designed to regulate basin lots. It was designed to regulate the lots where single-family homes are constructed, and that's confirmed in Jim's report. Additionally, we have a house that's existing there today that is very close to West Park Avenue. Much like you heard with Anthony in the first one, the county's requiring a dedication. When we dedicate the land, and that dedication could be required whether we're subdividing or not, they have the right to require it at any time, essentially puts that house almost right up on the property line. We're not creating that variance by the subdivision, that's a function of the dedication, but we're not changing the location of the house or where it addresses all of that. I do know that there are neighbors here. I've had the opportunity to speak with some of them. Some of the concerns are drainage, which we hope to address for you, because as you're gonna hear, we're collecting, holding, and then releasing it underground, so all the existing overground flow that's hitting their cul-de-sac is not gonna be there anymore. Some of the concerns are traffic. I also have a traffic engineer here who's going to offer testimony with the traffic we're proposing by virtue of this permitted use as compared to what the traffic would be if the garden center reopened or another commercial use went there. Again, and I remind you, when you're building according to the contemplated zoning, which is single-family homes at 10,000 square foot each, the traffic consideration is really safe ingress and egress. Having lived in this area my entire life and watched it develop as I've been here, I recognize that West Park Avenue is a very busy roadway. And there's no question that it's gonna stay busy. What we're proposing and what you're gonna hear from the testimony is though, that we're consistent with your zoning as contemplated for that busy roadway. And what's existing there today isn't really the issue, it's can we get in and out of our property safely? The good news is also is that since this is a county road and not a municipal road that we're accessing, really at the end of the day, the jurisdiction is gonna be with the county anyway with regard to any traffic improvements and anything else that we need to do. So I think I hit it all on a high level. If you can hand me those, I'll move all the different exhibits in and pass them out, and we'll get started. So we left off at A12, so A13 is an aerial map exhibit. And I know we did 20, I'm hoping, if you guys mind sharing, so we can make sure there's enough for the public. And it will be on the board also. Nobody wants to share up here.
We can share, I do not
All
like
right.
paper.
All right, good. And for the members of the public, I'm gonna put. Oh, I gave one over there. No, I should plenty, I think. If you don't mind taking one and then handing them out to any of your neighbors that might want one. A4 is an aerial overlay. Not A4, I'm sorry, A14, as close. That's an aerial overlay, and again, both are prepared by Dynamic Engineering and have today's date. And what this does essentially is show you the color rendered version of the plan overlaid on an aerial showing the, if you don't mind taking one and passing down, showing it over essentially a parcel map, so you can compare it to the adjacent residential, which is in the R4, which is what we're building up against. Thank you, sir. You can take one and pass it around. And then lastly, similar to what I just moved in, A15 is just a close-up color rendering. And one of the things, as I'm passing this out, that I forgot to mention, and you're gonna hear from Jeff when I have him sworn, is there is a lot on Klein Street that we sought an easement in order to connect the drainage, like I'd indicated, underground onto Klein Street. That lot is part of the subdivision, so it should be enough for you, Ed. Is it not? Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I gave you. That's part of the subdivision only because of the easement. We're not proposing any other improvements on that. And with all of that, and thank you for your patience, I'd like to introduce our engineer, have him sworn. He is a licensed engineer and planner, so I'd be submitting him as an expert in both fields.
That's what the swearing testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Just state your name for the record.
Jeffrey.
You better bring that much closer and talk louder.
Jeffrey Haberman, spelled Haberman.
Thanks, and
And
Jeff,
you are a licensed planner and a licensed engineer in the state of New Jersey?
Yes, I am.
And both of your licenses are in good standing?
They are.
Thank you, we don't need anything further.
okay,
Thank you.
thanks. And Jeff, to the extent that you're going to get, Nicole, do you have the portable mic or no?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
To the extent you're gonna get up and point anything out, just make sure you bring the mic with you.
Sure. Thank
So,
you.
since you're the expert and you designed this, I'm gonna turn it over to you to walk through what's existing, what we're proposing, and then we'll go into the variances.
Sure. Thank you and good evening. Starting here with Exhibit A13,
Yes.
which is the aerial map exhibit prepared by my firm. And to orient the board, I'll consider the north arrow to the top of the page for ease of orientation, even though it's the top right of the page in actuality. So what you see here is an aerial overview of the subject parcel. It's outlined in the yellow color with the surrounding uses, predominantly residential all around the property. The property subject to this application is identified as block 33.13, lots 5, 29, 30, and 31. The parcel fronts on West Park Avenue, as mentioned, it is a county roadway, County Route 14 to be exact. That is to the north of the property, and Klein Street is to the south. Lots 29 through 31, which are the main subject of this subdivision application, have direct frontage along West Park Avenue. It was mentioned that Lot 5 is also included in this application. It's an existing single-family lot that is located with frontage on Klein Street to the south. No improvements proposed with that Lot 5 single-family dwelling, with exception of an underground stormwater drainage pipe, which will connect to Klein Street, and I'll detail that a bit further as I get into stormwater testimony. Existing lots 29 through 31 comprise of 2.41 acres in size and are located in the T1 transitional office and residential zone. In the existing condition, the site is currently developed with 2 single-family dwellings and a former florist use, if you will, or a greenhouse. The applicant's proposing to maintain the existing single-family dwelling that's located on Lot 5, as I mentioned, and Lot 29, which is the northeasterly
So
single-family
essentially,
dwelling.
the existing lot on Klein and the existing house on West Park, we're gonna leave as is.
That is correct.
Okay. 'Cause
Yes.
I don't know that they can orient the lot numbers based on this, so just to make it clear.
Understood. The other structures on site will be raised as part of this application, if approved. The subject parcel itself currently drains from the northerly property line down to the south via overland flow, where stormwater runoff drains over the residential lots that are directly to the south towards Klein Street, where runoff is picked up by the catch basins that are currently in Klein Street. So there's essentially no stormwater detention currently existing on the subject parcel.
So when we were preparing for this, and I think we met in technical review once, if not twice, and we noted that there was some flooding on that cul-de-sac of Klein, that's because it's all graded to that, our site naturally grades that way, or it does today, and there's nothing that's holding the water and keeping it, so essentially any water that hits the impervious on our property is just going right over land and onto that spot.
That's great. That's correct. The impervious and even open space areas, it all drains undetained right onto the adjacent properties and Klein Street. There are no water bodies on site, no flood hazard areas or wetlands located on site. There was a comment in the board engineer's review memorandum pertaining to potential for wetlands across West Park Avenue to the north. However, pursuant to our review of that mapping, the mapped wetlands are pretty far away, further away from West Park Ave to the northwest. And our site drains away from those wetland areas. With the intervening infrastructure in West Park Avenue, including the street itself and all the utilities, there essentially will be no negative impact to those wetlands across the street.
And also, though, there is no buffers that would affect our property that would necessitate DEP approval.
To understanding, there are no buffers either that are pursuant to our review of the wetlands mapping that's associated with the wetlands database. That'll conclude my existing conditions
Okay,
testimony.
go ahead,
And I
you
can
can,
go right into,
yeah, go ahead, and I'll switch the exhibit.
Wonderful. I think it might, Ms. Krimko, might make most sense to go right
Who's
into
Ms.
the.
Krimko?
Jen.
Jen?
To the overall site plan rendering.
No one here calls me Ms. Krimko.
I did Ms. Krimko.
On the record, yes,
Yeah.
but you don't have to.
So, this exhibit here was Exhibit A14 entitled Aerial Overlay. What's shown here is essentially the prior aerial overlay that was depicted on the aerial map exhibit with our colorized site plan overlaid on top of that. What's shown is on the subject parcel itself colorized. The green is the open space areas. The darker gray shade is the proposed street. The beige color that's at the southeastern corner of the parcel, bottom right, is the above ground infiltration basin that's proposed.
And Jeff, just before you go on, as part of this application, and we're gonna get into it in greater detail when we discuss the remainder of Ben's reports, we're not proposing any construction on any of the lots right now. What we're proposing to do is just to create buildable lots that one day could be built upon by way of submitting for a building permit and zoning review and all of those things. So this is not like, you know, we're not coming as a developer saying, here's the houses we wanna build, here's where they're gonna go, we're only seeking to create the lots that are existing there today.
That's correct. It's similar to the prior application that was here before. The applicant is solely proposing a subdivision of the property. We don't know if a single developer will end up buying the entire project and constructing all the improvements, or if the applicant will construct the common elements of the project and then sell individual lots to future homeowners. In either case regardless though, there will have to be formal plot plans designed for each individual lot and submitted to the Ocean Township zoning and building departments for approval, from a zoning perspective and from an engineering, grading, drainage perspective as well. This is more of the mass development proposal that we're hearing
Right,
for you tonight.
and obviously, should the board approve this subdivision, the drainage improvements, the roadway, all of the shared infrastructure would have to be installed and bonded and provided for by whomever gets the approval, or whoever ultimately develops it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so, and again, the reason why I offer this now is just when you're looking in the context, a lot of times when we come in with a subdivision, we provide architectural plans, we talk about where the driveway's gonna be, where the house is gonna be. We're not presenting any of that because essentially these are all conforming as it relates to the lot area. We don't need any variances for structure, we're not seeking any variances for structures or setbacks or anything like that. So we're just looking to create the lots, get approval, site plan approval for the grading that you see on the grading plans, and the roadway, the sidewalks, the street trees, the lighting, all the things, you know, that are attendant to it. And then should the board approve this, then as each lot gets developed, they would be required to seek the same approvals that any homeowner who buys a lot, a vacant lot in Ocean Township would be required. So I just wanted to, we were talking about the site plan, I just wanted to make that clarification.
Thank you. So we are here tonight seeking preliminary and final major subdivision and site plan approval with bulk variances to create 8 new lots on the subject parcel. They're lettered as A through H on the site plan rendering that's before you. And those 8 new lots are from the existing 3-lot tract that's fronting on West Park Avenue. Just from a nomenclature, alphabetical order perspective, the Lot A starts at the existing single-family lot that's at the upper right-hand side of the page, and then it follows in alphabetical order clockwise around the new street that's in the middle of the page.
Clockwise or counterclockwise?
Clockwise.
Okay.
So H is the top left lot that's proposed. Jen did mention we filed an application with the Monmouth County Planning Board. We actually did anticipate this before we filed the application, that they would request a 15-foot wide dedication of land to essentially conform with their master plan. This will result in a front yard setback variance for that existing single-family home on Lot A. That is to remain. Right now, it is in a non-conforming condition with a 16-foot setback to the front covered porch of that existing structure, whereas 30 feet is the minimum required in the T1 zone. With the new dedication, the front yard setback is now proposed at 1.1 feet. So therefore, we are seeking C variance relief for that encroachment.
But again, we're not moving the house and we're not expanding the roadway, and I think as you go through Jim's report, he indicates it's unlikely that the road is ever expanded to that extent. But again, that's something that the county would have the right to do regardless. And just Jim, one quick question. I think I saw in your definition of setbacks, front setback, that it's actually measured to the future right-of-way based on the master plan.
That's correct.
So our existing setback really is 1.1, because the future right-of-way is based on the county's
It's
master
not,
plan.
the lot, the setback is from the building to the front lot line.
Right.
So the front lot line is now, what is it, 9.1 feet? So the existing setback is 9.1 or whatever that figure is.
No, but, and again, it's interesting that
9.3, yeah.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
But because of the subdivision, then it would be reduced to 1.1.
Well, again, when you say because of the subdivision,
Yes. Yeah.
it's
The master plan says that any new development,
Okay,
if there's
Yes,
such
okay.
as a subdivision or so on,
Okay.
that the front setback will be measured to the right-of-way
Okay.
as laid out in the master plan.
okay,
But right now, the setback is 9.3 feet.
right,
But
understood.
the county could come in and-
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. And unlike the prior subdivision tonight, because this property has existed for years, they could take that property without coming to this board for a subdivision.
Meaning the 15 feet,
Yeah, the 15 feet.
right, okay. So go ahead, I'm sorry, Jack.
So we went over how there are no housing structures proposed with this application. I'll briefly go over the common improvements that are proposed as part of this application. They include a new public roadway internal to the site. It's called Road A on your plans now, future name to be determined, and work with your, with the Ocean Township officials. That roadway is designed in accordance with RSI standards. a stormwater conveyance system, and a stormwater infiltration basin, which is designed on its own lot, which is Lot E. That is the southeastern-most lot, or the bottom right lot on the page. Lighting for the new roadway, LED lighting, downcast, non-glare fixtures. Utility extensions, the applicant is proposing to extend all utilities, sanitary sewer, domestic water, and fire, electric, water, gas, and telecommunication services, all within the new road underground.
But extend from where? From West Park Avenue?
They'll extend from West Park Avenue within the available public utilities in that right of way. Landscaping, there'll be new street trees along West Park Avenue, whereas they're lacking in the existing condition, especially along the floor's frontage. Landscaping throughout the entire development, as well as new buffering, screening along the southern property line to screen from the residences to the south. And I mentioned Lot 5 is also included with the application, as there's a stormwater easement for the stormwater conveyance system that will connect from that proposed above-ground detention basin on the applicant's property to the infrastructure that's located underground in Klein Street. The proposed project as a whole meets the intent of the bulk requirements of the T1 zoning standards, as all the vacant building lots that are proposed meet the minimum 10,000 square foot area requirement, as stated previously. Therefore, the density of the project, I can say, is consistent with the surrounding residential neighborhood, which is predominantly in the R4 zone and has the same 10,000 square foot minimum standard. There is one exception, which is Lot E, which is the stormwater basin lot. It falls a little bit short of that 10,000 square foot mark. To be exact, it's 8,887 square feet. Now, the reason for that is because we didn't need the full 10,000 square feet for stormwater management purposes. We could accomplish the detention needed with that proposed lot area in its entirety. So we do have a C variance relief that will be required for that lot area size on Lot E. But as mentioned, the bulk requirements of the ordinance are intended for lots to be developed for residential and office uses and not for stormwater management basins. So it is sized appropriately, and I'll mention that during my stormwater testimony. We are requesting other minor bulk variance relief, though these vacant lots do meet the minimum lot area requirements. There are minimum lot width, depth, and frontage variances that are being requested for this application.
And before you go into it, I just want to confirm a couple things. So when you look at your exhibit, the transitional zone is essentially all the lots that front on West Park Avenue.
Yes, correct.
So any lot that's developed on West Park Avenue is not, they're not fronting on and developed residential type street, it's more of the county thoroughfare that it is. So the distinction between the R4, which is all the houses behind us, which is what we're proposing to develop consistent with, the only difference is that the transition, the T1 requires 100 foot in width and frontage, where the R4 allows for 90.
That's correct, yes. So the R4 district, the blue zoning line, essentially the houses all around here are in the R4 district. In the transitional zone, though it does stretch, it's a small sliver that runs towards Route 35. They are single-family homes, and those lots are also consistent with the R4 zoning standards. So there are 4 lots proposed with this application that are short of the minimum width requirement of 100 feet pursuant to the T1 zone. However, they are greater than 90 feet in width, which would be consistent with the R4 zoning standards and the surrounding neighborhood community.
Right, and from a planning perspective, if you're zoning for both, if they obviously didn't go to the trouble of differentiating between if it's a single-family use or an office use, but typically the wider frontage would be for the office use, or would be more appropriate for the office use, because you need to have the ingress and egress for a different amount of traffic along the way for a single lot.
It would, for traffic, for the parking necessitated for it, the increased impervious, but that's not what is contemplated with this proposal.
Okay, and
Yeah.
all of our lots, their driveways will be on this internal residential street, similar to all the R4, like on Klein Street behind us. So, again, the excess width isn't necessary, or certainly won't have any impact on the streetscape along West Park Avenue.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
So
So,
just, I'm sorry to interrupt, just a quick point of clarification. all of the new lots, except for the one on Klein, will remain within T1?
Yes.
Thank you, go on.
Yeah.
So, back on the roadway, pedestrian circulation and connectivity side of testimony here, the proposed new public roadway, as I mentioned, is designed in accordance with RSIS standards. It connects perpendicularly to West Park Avenue. Full movement driveway with the T intersection is proposed. The intersection is designed with ADA compliant curb ramps, crosswalks, and traffic control measures. And the public street will serve each new residential lot. Now, we do show on the site plan diagram the concrete aprons that would possibly go up to each individual residential lot off the new public street. However, that would be subject to change based on where individual homeowners would ultimately design their homes and their driveways and garages. We showed it for representation purposes at this time, though, so you can understand how potentially that might feed off of the main public roadway that's proposed. There's also a cul-de-sac proposed at the south end to allow for proper maneuvers for several vehicles. The mainly most important, the Ocean Township fire apparatus, any delivery vehicles, Amazon vehicles, Sprinter vans, as well as the dumpster trucks for trash pickup.
And school buses?
And school buses, yes. There is a design waiver required for that cul-de-sac design. The township ordinance requires a minimum turnaround radius of 50 feet, whereas the radius designed here is 43 feet. Now, in terms of the design waiver, the standard is whether the board finds that the requested waiver is reasonable, and if it would present a hardship to the applicant to comply with. In this instance here, the cul-de-sac is designed in accordance with RSIS standards, actually slightly above RSIS standards. And we compared
But before you even talk about that, it's my understanding that the RSI standards is what governs, that the ordinance can't require something more restrictive than RESIS. The whole purpose of RESIS is to give uniformity for these types of things throughout the state, so each municipality isn't doing that. So I think that if we comply with RESIS, essentially, we comply.
I defer to Mark on that.
The ordinance can be less than RSIS, it can't be more than RSIS.
So we meet RESIS, so it's technically a waiver, but I don't know that the ordinance is allowed to require that in the first place.
If it's more than RSIS,
It
it's
is
not
more.
allowed,
Right,
period.
okay. Well, I didn't want to say it that definitively.
Well, I think the law is ridiculous, but that is what the law is.
Regardless of, with that cul-de-sac, it is designed efficiently with the appropriate vehicles that would maneuver that, and that was part of the application package site plan drawings that was submitted to the board. Meeting the ordinance required would create a hardship, because it would require additional lot.
Right, but we don't have to meet the.
But we don't have to meet the ordinance.
So, and then also, we submitted this to traffic and fire, and there were no comments with regard to the cul-de-sac, correct?
That's correct. From a grading and stormwater management perspective, I mentioned earlier that stormwater runoff currently drains from the northern property line or West Park Avenue down to the south towards Klein Street. All overland flow, undetained, uncontrolled. This project, the proposed project here, due to the amount of disturbance in land, is classified as a major development pursuant to the Township stormwater ordinance as well as NJAC 7:8, the stormwater management regulations. So we're tasked with complying with the stormwater management quantity, quality, groundwater recharge, and the green infrastructure requirements set forth by those standards. To start, each lot here is designed with a maximum 45% impervious coverage limitation. That is obviously an assumed impervious coverage limitation. It's a maximum cap because we don't have a building or a layout proposed on each lot now.
And what's the required max?
90%
Okay.
is the required maximum in the T1 zone.
So in the event someone built over the 45, they would be required to put their own stormwater management system on their lot?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. So when you say that we're designed, you're saying that the that the basin as designed is assuming the 45% coverage. Oh, so I don't, wasn't it changed? Oh, the T1 didn't change, just the
Yeah,
residential
that's-
stuff
yeah,
changed.
that's
So the
correct.
T1. So,
Yeah.
I forgot, so the ordinance has changed and significantly reduced coverages for residential, but not for in the T1. So again, if any homeowner who wants to build there would want to exceed the 45% and meet whatever the ordinance allows for, they'd have to address on-site
Yes.
any additional development.
That's correct. And that 45% maximum impervious coverage number is similar to other residential zones within the township, including the R4 zone, which is right next door. So in order to meet the stormwater management requirements, I had mentioned the proposed development proposes an above-ground sand bottom infiltration basin, which is considered a green infrastructure design element pursuant to state and local codes. All the lots on this property are currently designed with catch basins or inlets in the rear yards to collect stormwater runoff from those specific lots. So in essence, there will be no off-site drainage that will impact any adjacent properties from an overland flow perspective. Whereas in the existing condition, stormwater runoff currently does flow off of the site undetained, uncontrolled towards Klein Street. Those catch basins will collect that stormwater runoff from the entire property and route out to that above-ground infiltration that's located at the southeastern corner of the property on Lot E. That basin is designed to infiltrate that stormwater runoff to meet the water quality and recharge standards, and also detain it and release runoff for the higher storm events, the 210, 100-year storm events, to reduce the peak rate runoff of those design storm events to the downstream infrastructure in Klein Street. I had mentioned that easement that's located on Lot 5, 15-foot wide drainage easement. That is the outfall from that stormwater basin. It's an underground drainage pipe that discharges through Lot 5 underground and connects to the infrastructure in Klein Street. So in essence, with that, with the decrease in peak runoff rate to Klein Street, this project actually increases the capacity of the downstream infrastructure within Klein Street and downstream of that, which is a substantial improvement to the existing condition that is there today.
Jen, my apologies, did you say there were no comments from the fire marshal?
No, I said there were comments, but they didn't object to we can comply with the fire marshal's comments.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. No, I'm saying there was nothing with regard to the cul-de-sac.
Got it.
I'm sorry, Jeff, can you clarify that?
Sure.
You said the capacity of the system downstream Klein Street is increased?
Within Klein Street, we're decreasing the peak runoff rates for the design storm events necessary, so the pipe capacity downstream of our site is therefore increased, yes.
So essentially, because we're sending less water there, it's gonna allow for more water from everybody else.
Yeah,
Not less
it's
water,
all
but
a
over
timing,
time. Right,
it's
over
a
time.
timing, yes,
Okay.
correct.
So, you ready to start talking about the letters? Or?
No, I was really briefly on,
Okay, go ahead.
yeah, on lighting, again, the design is LED lighting fixtures, is a few street poles associated with the development. We don't want to overlight the roadway. And so for that purpose, we don't have any spillover to any of the adjacent residential properties.
But ultimately, the street lighting would have to be accepted by the township, and that would be reviewed by the township engineer and
Yes.
JCP&L.
That's correct, and it would have to be bonded appropriate as well for construction. And lastly, I'd mentioned the landscaping earlier. The landscaping design has been prepared by a licensed landscape architect within my office at Dynamic Engineering. The specific elements include a total of 102 total new plantings. That includes 51 new shade trees, 17 ornamental trees, 29 evergreen trees, and a few deciduous shrubs near the stormwater basin area.
Well, speaking about landscaping, in Jim's review letter, he pointed out that there was a shortfall of 17 4-inch caliber trees. We can add those and be fully compliant, correct?
That is correct. Our plan is to revise the plans, if approved as a condition of approval, to plant those 17 evergreen plantings along the southern property line adjacent to Lot 4, to
Well,
provide a better screen.
And let me go a step above that is, what he also suggested that we do is, move the piping along the southern property line where it jogs towards the property line. Was it 10 feet or 15 feet? I don't remember. 10 feet, I think he said. 10 feet to the north, which would allow us to then add even more trees along that property line, which would essentially ensure an 18-foot side yard setback for any house that would be facing the east.
That is correct. I would anticipate a 10-foot strip of land directly on the property line that would have a staggered row of evergreen plantings, and then another 8-foot strip for the underground pipe for maintenance purposes. So essentially 18 feet along that property line would be installed with improvements that could not be disturbed in the future for any
Okay.
housing expansion.
And the lot that we're speaking of, because it's labeled on your plan as proposed lot F.
Yes, it's the southwestern lot.
Okay, so what that's gonna do is, it's going to allow us to plant more trees along that, and I did have a chance to speak to the owner of 10 Klein Street, and she'd asked about, we had discussed that we would probably, because of the runoff now, we'd also propose to put those trees up on a berm, and then put some catch basins in front of the berm to further ensure that there'd be no runoff.
That's correct. Actually, one of the comments from the board engineer, Mr. Malik's review letter, was to ensure that no runoff would drain onto that Lot 4 property. We certainly agree to do that, to revise the grading as a condition of approval, and we can achieve that by way of creating a small berm next to it and putting catch basins there to make sure that there is runoff collected without draining onto the property next door.
Okay, and, you know, it's interesting, Jim pointed something out that basically and I'm speaking about that particular lot. The way your ordinance is written, it says that any lot parallel to the street, any lot line across from and parallel to the street is the rear lot line. So, again, assuming that you can go parallel to a cul-de-sac, since our frontage is on the cul-de-sac, then arguably the south lot line would be considered our rear lot line. You have it labeled as side.
Yes, right now it's labeled as side. It's a nuance in the ordinance based on how rear yard is defined, so
And-
we would have to revise that as
And that
well.
would be 30 feet, but if a house is built and the architectural rear of the house is facing the west, then that actually changes the side yard and the rear yard.
Yes,
And
yep,
conceivably, any house that's constructed here, the rear yard is going to be to the west, because again, they're gonna wanna have as much room as possible
Yeah.
for rear yard.
intuitively, yes, that's,
Right.
yes, correct.
So ultimately, if and when a house is constructed, that will become the side yard, although by purposes of the subdivision today with no house there,
Yes.
it's technically a rear yard.
Just one other point, and I'm sure all of the board members have a lot of questions, and I wanna let you finish, but before I forget, this berm, how tall is this berm going to be?
It won't be tall, just because of how, it's a
It'll be
relatively
less
flat
than
lot.
Less than 2 feet,
Okay.
because we're not asking for a variance.
Correct.
That's where I was going with that, thank you.
You're
Go on.
welcome.
Yep.
I knew where you were going. Okay, and Jim, I think we hit everything in your letter, right? Was there anything else in your
No,
letter?
I think you
David?
did.
Okay, good. And then going to Ben's letter, and I had the opportunity to meet with Ben, we all did, meet with Ben and Jim and everybody in tech review, and then I spoke with Ben again today. He has a comment with regard to 4A and an amended site plan, but after I explained that we're not developing this as one site, meaning each of the individual lots and each are gonna be graded separately, we wouldn't have the ability to submit a site plan. However, we would agree that any home construction would have to submit an as-built survey to show that it's consistent with whatever the township engineer would approve for the grading.
So, I have a question maybe for Mark on this. Because there was discussion of, the applicant doesn't know if they're going to sell the lots individually to homeowners to develop themselves, or if it will be to one developer to develop all the lots at once. If they do sell to one developer who develops all the lots at once, then does that require an amended site plan?
I don't know that it would make a difference.
Yeah, because we would subdivide before selling, so we would just be selling them, the subdivided lots, potentially. And again, the site plan we're seeking is relative to the roadway, to the trees, to the common areas. We're not seeking site plan for the individual lots, because we wanna leave the, flexibility for those lots to be developed by a homeowner as they would want to. So again, to the extent that we change something, let's say with regard to the detention basin, significantly that you weren't comfortable with administratively, then yeah, of course, that's something that would have to come back. Or if the roadway configuration changed, well, that would have to come back. You know, or if we decided, you know, if they didn't wanna do street trees, or they didn't wanna do sidewalks that are shown on here, all of that would have to come back. We just wanted the flexibility, because I know that Mark's, and we talked about this at length, Mark's resolutions, rightfully so, say you're gonna construct according to the plan. So we just wanted the testimony to be very clear that the plan is with regard to all of the infrastructure, but each of the homes where the driveway might go. That isn't decided yet, because as you know, if you have a house with a garage on the left side, you want your driveway on the left side. If you have it the other way, you want it on the right side, or some people may want a circular driveway. So, I hope that answers your question.
There are gonna be easements, I assume, that would be.
Of course, all of it. Yep,
Because there's gonna have to be, common responsibility for maintaining the
yeah, there's
the
gonna have,
drainage.
there's gonna have to be a homeowners association.
Which, are you forming it or not? Because I assume you're going to have to.
Yeah, we would,
All right.
yeah.
That's what
We, or, you know, again, so anyone who's going to, typically, anyone who is going to get the plats signed for recording will have to have us posted all the bonds and establish the homeowners association, subject to your review, similar to the one on Park, and would have to, make sure all the easements are recorded and everything else, yeah. So,
I mean, I'm gonna leave it, assuming the board approves the application. It doesn't have to be a homeowners association, there just has to be some sort of an agreement.
oh, it does have to be.
Yeah.
It
By
has to
law.
be a homeowners
By
association?
law, it has to be.
Okay.
Bill Fitzgerald taught me that.
And you told me
Many,
that too.
many years ago. Yeah, it does, because otherwise who would own the lot if it's not a homeowner association with a basin?
That's true, yes.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking along those lines, but you're
Right.
100% right, yes.
With regard to the lot being wooded or not wooded, we will, revise this, and I'm just going on to 4B. We'll revise the survey to show the trees themselves. We are fine with compliance with C through F. I'm going to pass over traffic, not because it's not important, but because I have a different witness for that. 6 we can comply with, correct?
Correct.
Okay. 7A you testified to. 7B is going to, with regard to basements, it's going to be on a lot-by-lot basis. Anyone who puts a basement in would have to show to the construction office that the water table would allow for the basement, consistent with the ordinances as well as the building code. 7C, we did send the phase 1 to Ben, so he does have that. It does indicate in there, and it was moved into evidence, that there's no environmental concerns on the property.
Is the Carney Street house part of the homeowners association?
No,
It's not,
No.
so it is separate,
no,
okay.
the homeowners association will in fact own the easement over the Klein Street house.
Okay, that's what, I'm just clarifying. All right, but all the rest of the lots are
Right.
part of it, including the existing,
Yeah, it would-
existing house
It would
owner.
it would have to be.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just making sure.
Yep, it would have to be. With regard to the EIS and significant tree specimens, I don't know that 9.2 applies when it's before the board, but we can offer that, we don't believe that there are any. Right, Jim, that doesn't apply? Once we're before the board, it's the site plan ordinance section?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the outside agency approvals obviously would be required. Oh, did we get freehold soil? I think, yes,
Yes.
we did get freehold soil certification. It actually came in the mail today. So I did submit that, this afternoon to Nicole. So, As it relates to the affirmative engineering testimony, I would certainly open Jeff up for any questions from the board. And just remind you, I have another witness here for traffic.
All right, before we get started, I just have a question for Jim. For the board's edification, can you give a brief overview of what is allowed in the T1 zone, besides single-family residential?
There are offices that are allowed, home offices and general offices. I believe medical offices are not permitted, but general offices would be.
I have it printed, if you
Yeah,
want to just
yeah.
read from it.
Yeah.
Well, no, professional offices are allowed.
Professional, but not medical.
That's what he said.
Yeah, yeah.
He said non-medical.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't, do they have?
Professional, medical offices professional offices are different than medical
Okay.
offices. Yep. Home professional offices and professional offices. So you could have a real estate office, you could have an engineering office, a planner's office, an attorney's office. You could also have somebody with a home professional office, which means they could have their office in their home, but reside in the home.
So these building lots then, and this now goes back to our applicant here, these lots are not necessarily going to be residential. There's nothing that says that if someone wants to buy an individual lot and build a planner's office, that they could do that.
No, they would not be able to do that. The homeowners association would not permit that.
The
So-
homeowners association hasn't informed yet, right? What if they change their
Well,
their
I think they're
bylaws?
saying they'll make that a condition.
No,
of
that
approval.
would be, these would be residential.
Okay.
No question, these would all be residential lots.
Okay.
So that would be a condition of approval.
Without a doubt, I mean, they would have to be because, again, Mark's letters always say that we're bound by any testimony offered. The testimony you're gonna hear from the traffic engineer and the testimony as it relates to everything we talked about is only for residential development, these single-family homes. So if the board were to approve this, you'd be ensuring that, one, the garden center, that a garden center wouldn't purchase it and continue the non-conforming use that's there, or two, no one could come in and develop an office building there.
But are we banning home offices as part of the HOA?
Well, I think home offices are permitted in all residential zones, aren't they, or are they not?
No.
Okay, then yes, we're prohibiting home offices.
So no standalone offices,
Right.
but home office is okay.
No, the opposite. So what we're suggesting is, we're developing it consistent with the R4. So to
Okay.
the extent that the R4 does not allow home offices, then no home offices.
Okay.
I'm sorry if that wasn't clear.
One other thing, little deja vu here. Lot A, the existing driveway is non-conforming in that it's almost right on the property line. It's supposed to be 5 feet away. So that's just something for the board's knowledge, that it's not affected by the subdivision, but it is there.
That's a variance
Yeah,
condition.
it's a variance condition.
Okay. All right, well, I'll open up to the rest of the board for questions, because I'm sure you have some.
I'll go first. Can you talk more about lot F and where the house is going to be facing? Is it going to be facing a different direction than?
No, so, the short answer is I don't know. But the long, where can I stand that you can see this? The longer answer is that if it faces directly to the cul-de-sac, then this is the rear yard and it has to be 30 feet from this. If the architectural, I mean, you can have an L-shaped house, for example, that kind of goes along the curve, and the back of the house is facing this way, then this becomes a side yard. So it's really a function of how the house is constructed and architecturally what it's going to look like. But, you know, either this is gonna be a technical rear yard, or it's gonna be a side yard, but realistically, because of the depth from here to here, it's likely going to use this as the rear yard, which coincides with the rear yards all the way around it as well, so it makes sense for that to be the rear yard.
I have a question. The house on Klein Street that they granted the easement for the garden center behind it, is that house part of this, application?
Yeah, it is, it has to be by law.
So, the owner, when they were approached to, grant an easement, were they aware that they were asking for 8 lots in their backyard?
Yeah, so let me,
Or are they
we-
here with the application is my question?
we're here with the application, so what had happened was originally, the owner and the applicant was pursuing an easement of the property. And the negotiations for the easement rose to a level of cost for the easement that was so high that instead she sold us the land. So the applicant owns that lot right now.
House structure, everything is
Everything.
the applicant's house.
It is whether it's the applicant or the principal of the applicant, it may be in a private name, but again, the principals who control the applicant own that house.
Understood.
And when you say 8 lots, there's not going to be 8 new houses back there, just,
Well-
it's gonna be 6.
Could you talk more about lot E? Like what is this tan rectangle? Like is that dirt right now?
No, that's the basin.
So that is not gonna be a lot developed.
It's
That's
going to
just
be a
collect the
lot.
water.
It's going to be a lot, because the basin has to be on its own lot, but no, it will not be a house, it can never be a house.
Okay.
And was there something that you wanted him to go in greater detail with regard to the basin? There's only
Yeah, if you just know, cause you said that's part of the variance, right, the basin,
No, the lot shape and sizes, because you're.
the
lot-
width.
Right, as it relates to the basin lot,
Yeah.
your ordinance mandates development sizes anticipating a house. You don't have an ordinance that regulates basin lots.
Okay.
But to just go one step further, so what we're really proposing is only 6 new houses. Everything else is an existing house or a basin.
Understood.
Well, as long as we're talking about the basin, I'm looking at the stormwater management, water quality, groundwater recharge analysis report that you have, and your pull-out maps.
Yes.
Second one, this little, I don't even know what to call this, the inflow into the basin. Maybe I'm asking the wrong question, we'll start. The other maps that you have make it look like there is a fence around this basin, is that an accurate reflection?
Yes.
How high is the fence and how deep is the basin? Let's start there.
The fence will have to be designed in accordance with the fall protection requirements, so that it'll be a 4-foot high fence around the basin. And the depth of the basin, right now, it's a retained basin, there's a retaining wall around it. It's excavated down into the ground, hence the need for a wall, for a fence, for fall protection. The basin is about roughly 4 to 4.5 feet deep from the top of the wall to the bottom of the wall.
Okay. So this inflow from this map, and I can't tell, is this pavers or riprap, or what am I looking at for the
Can I ask you,
inflow?
Mr. Victor, may I ask you to, on the bigger plan, to look at the grading plan? Because I think that might, let me just see, I think it's sheet, not grading, it's the drainage plan on sheet 7. I think that might be easier for everyone to follow along, it should be the same map.
Yeah,
Just to make it easier for everybody. So you're talking about the basin access?
the basin, yes.
Okay, so what, is that gonna be grasscrete? What is that gonna be?
It'll be a reinforced grass paver, essentially, yeah.
Okay.
So a vehicle can get down there in case they need to do more maintenance activities. Yeah.
And so is that going to be blocked with gates to keep people out of there, or is it just
Yes.
gonna be open?
It'll be gated, correct.
Yeah, and if you look closely, Mr. DeFiglia, right above the 50, there's 2 swinging gates actually drawn in there.
Okay.
So it's a double wide gate that's presumably about 8 feet wide that's gonna let the vehicle in.
Correct. The axis is 10 feet.
10, I'm
So, yes.
And you said that this is gonna be a sand-bottomed basin, so what is the, expected maintenance for it? In terms of how often are they gonna have people in there? Do you have an idea?
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward stormwater management measure that's been around for quite a few years now. Usually the state would require you to submit annual reports depicting how many times you maintain the basin. Technically, you have to send in somebody there to inspect it and make sure it was clean after a specific rainfall event. Say it was like after the water quality storm event essentially. So it would be a pretty regularly maintained basin, even for the smaller events. Just holistically though, just for general maintenance purposes, you want an engineer out there probably twice a year at minimum.
And just to follow up on that, that's why we're required to have an operations and maintenance manual, which the DEP now requires that we actually record it against the property.
That's correct.
As part of the deed restriction. And that's why we need the homeowners association, because by law, we're not allowed to have a single homeowner responsible for a basin that's serving an entire community. We have to have a homeowners association that each of the community members contributing to the basin are going to pay into, and then they have the same management company that would manage the association, conceivably would contract with whomever would be responsible for maintenance of the basin. And I will tell you that most of the easements that we've granted in the past have required that the township be granted the right but not the obligation to go in and take care of anything and charge back the homeowners association.
And would you agree to the condition that the homeowners association has to submit the maintenance updates every single year to the township engineer?
Sure.
Okay.
Do we have any basins like this anywhere else in town?
Motion for.
Everywhere?
In town? I don't know.
Yeah. It's a pretty.
Where it's owned by,
Yeah, so Toll Brothers,
okay.
they have several of them like this. Every development that was done post, I would say 1995 or so,
Has a lot dedicated.
either has a lot dedicated to it, or the basin is constructed on someone's lot, but it's maintained by the homeowners association. So yeah, this is the only way now to subdivide property is with this layout.
And if
With
it's size.
with the exception of, if you're going to do the individual treatment on the lots, and then there'd be common, I don't know if you I don't know if you were sitting here, Councilwoman, I'm sorry, if you were sitting here
You're
for,
Jen.
I know, if you were sitting here for, when it was I think it was a 10-lot subdivision for, Park Boulevard, where the Rofay house is.
I was not.
Okay, so similar to that, a homeowners association is formed to maintain all of the drainage infrastructure throughout the property. But the one that would be most notable to you would be something like Toll Brothers.
Okay, thank you.
And just one last question about the basin, this emergency spillway in the southeastern corner, where is that? Is that spilling out into the neighbor's yard, where's that going?
It's in a true emergency situation, so it would spill out between the two property lines in the neighbor's yard and then drain down towards Klein Street. So in a true emergency situation where the basin is failing, it needs relief, it needs somewhere to drain out to. So that's essentially where it would flow to, essentially east and then run towards Klein Street.
But it could go into the neighbor's yard.
Yes.
But which
And then-
which neighbor?
Let me. Between lot 25 and lot 6.
You mind pointing?
Sure. Right over
Well, I
this
can't
location. Sorry, right over here. And then,
Ben, how are we feeling about that?
Well, I guess the question would be, in that situation, is there some type of channel or anything for water to spill into to get to Klein Street, or what's back there?
there's, between every yard along Klein Street, there are swales that run between the two properties. So just runoff would discharge out of that emergency spillway, run along the common property line towards Klein Street, and make its way down that way. And that's in a true emergency situation again, right? If the basin was failing, this basin is designed to contain the whole 100-year design storm. And that's not only the 100-year design storm now, it's the 100-year design storm in the projected condition in the year 2100. So it's an extreme emergency measure. There's no other outlet for the stormwater runoff. What we're doing here is providing a very well-designed system that provides emergency outlets within the basin itself. This is just a last, a last condition. And when you have a storm that comes in, that's the 2100-year storm, 100-year storm, everything is flooding. I mean, it's like a catastrophe scenario, so.
I mean, Ocean's had some very bad flooding in the last 5 years. What do you think exceeded a 100-year storm? What did we hit, Jack, 500-year, something like that?
Yeah.
In
but
that
he's
September
saying-
storm?
He's saying 100-year storm projected in 2100, which is.
Much worse than the
Much worse.
100-year storm
Yeah.
today.
Yes.
And that's because the DEP requires us to now, under the new stormwater management.
Yeah,
regs.
Correct.
and I guess that was my question. Is this compliant under the NJ-PAC field rules?
It is, under the NJ, well, it's compliant under the pending NJ-PAC drill rules are saying?
They're in place now, but yeah.
Well, they're
No,
grandfathered until
Yes.
July.
Yeah, they are, yeah, the design is for the NJ-PAC rules,
All right.
yes. And soil erosion certification, we do have our soil erosion certification too, and they do review off-site drainage and downstream erosion as well, so they certify the plans. We just got that letter in the mail this afternoon.
So I'm just looking at this map and the topography, and I'm looking at the elevation lines. Out of
Specifically,
that-
which one are you on?
I'm still
What page?
on page 7.
Okay.
That spillway, we're going from 49 feet, we're going from 50 feet to 49 feet to 48 feet, but not towards Pine, towards Fanwood. So are you putting something on that shared property line between the houses on Fanwood that would direct it south towards Klein? I'm not sure I'm understanding.
So what he's saying is the topo's going this way.
So if you
So
see.
how are you getting it this way? The topo's going this way.
Around this way.
Okay. So we don't show the
So
topo
we don't show
over
the,
those lots?
we don't show it all the way, yeah, we show the topo just 20 feet beyond the property line, which was in accordance with the township ordinance. But again, this is, I could show you on the plan view, it does have a little bit of a curve towards the south, if you will. Sure.
Well, actually, more importantly, show Ben too. Start with Ben, and then Ben can tell me if he agrees.
I do have.
Mr. DeFeo, can I take 3 minutes?
Sure.
You triggered something that I have a question I want to ask the engineer because I think it's going to address all your stuff.
That's fine. Is
Can I
the
just
board
take
okay
a
with
3-minute break?
break? All right,
Thank
yeah,
you.
we're adjourned for 3 minutes.
Councilwoman Kaplan?
Sorry, what are we?
We're doing a
Roll call here.
You're voting in favor, no?
Mr. Beal?
Here.
Mr. Goslin?
Here.
Mr. Manel?
Yes.
Ms. Valente?
Here.
Mr. Mamie?
Here.
Vice Chairman Palutis?
Here.
And Chairman DeFilia?
Here.
Thank you, Mr. DeFeo. I'm sorry that I always say your name wrong.
I always want to say it like
It's
that.
been 40-something years of it, you know.
I know, but I've known you long enough. So, first of all, you raised an issue that is causing me concern. And as a result, I'm gonna let the board know that I wanna put a pin in the stormwater management discussion because we intend to return to you with a revised plan addressing the concern that you raised with regards to the emergency spillway. That being said, I do have my traffic engineer here, and I know there's a number of public that are here. And I was hoping that you would allow us to continue so we can get their comments. So when revising plans, which we know we have to do, hopefully we can revise them in a way to incorporate any concerns they may have or the board may have. So again, a great point with regard to the spillway, that one got by me. Now that it was brought to my attention, I'm not gonna try and make an argument that I know is not a valid one and waste everybody's time. So we wanna have the opportunity to address it properly for you.
Sure, so Ms. Krimko, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna have the board ask any more questions of your witness and our professionals, then we will open it up to questions from the public. And just so the public understands how this goes, when we open it up for questions from the public, this is a multi-step process. You can come and ask questions of this witness. This is not your chance to make statements about how you feel about the project. It's a chance to ask questions, ask technical questions, get a better understanding of what's going on. At the end of the hearing, after the applicant has all their witnesses, we will provide all the public a chance to share all of their thoughts and feelings on it as well. But when we open up to the public tonight for this witness, it's just questions to help you get a better understanding and help the board have a better understanding of what's going on. So, with that, I return to the board.
Can we ask, Mr. Chair, can we invite the public to ask their questions now and come back to us?
Sure.
They need to see, interest on that and allow us to ask.
Unless there's any other burning questions on the board that you have to ask right now. All right, well then, I would invite any members of the public who have questions for this witness or anything you've heard to come on up. You just have to introduce yourselves, your name, your address. Mark, are you gonna swear him in?
I'm
or-
gonna swear in because invariably there'll be statements. So,
You are-
do you swear testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the true self you got?
I do so, yeah.
And just state your name for the record?
Fiore Pandori.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to spell it.
Fiore Pandori, Fiore Panduri.
N-D-U-R-I.
Yep.
And your address, Mr. Pandora?
2 Garrity Place.
Thank you.
And could you just show me where that is in relation to us, just so I know? I mean, I went to Ocean High School,
Right here.
but, okay, so you're here, okay.
So I have a question about the drainage that's, you said it's running along here?
So it's gonna be underground.
Yeah, and is that right on my property line?
So the question is, how far is that setback from this property line, the pipe that we're putting underground?
Can you show us on this map so the board can see, sorry, the angles?
Mr. Pandora, why don't you have Mr. Pandora show us what his property is on that map, so the board sees it?
I'm gonna get a laser pointer.
Okay, right here.
Okay.
And if they're running right along that property line, that's not helping me at all.
Well, so again, where is the pipe in relation to that property line up against Mr. Pandora's property? How far off of it are you?
The pipe is roughly 10 feet off of the property line into our property, and the inverts, or the grades are lower than on your property line, so they're low lying, so that water can get collected within those inlets and drain to the basin on the site.
All right, and is that always gonna have water in it sitting there, mosquitoes, everything else? Is that gonna happen?
No, it's designed to, the basin is designed to infiltrate runoff into the groundwater table, so that runoff should hit those inlets and clear out to the basin.
Can I just offer something to Mr. Pandori? Mr. Pandori, and forgive me, this is just a pipe, it's not to hold the water there, it's just to run the water that collects here, that's already going on your property.
But isn't there all grates? Isn't that
No,
graded?
no, no, the grates are just to go in, not to come out, so it's
Okay.
to go in, and then it's tilted, so it's gonna end up here. The
I
whole purpose
understand
is
that,
for
but
all
it's
the water
open,
to get
it's
here.
open to the pipe below. It's wide open to the pipe below, or graded to the pipe
It's
below.
grated, yes.
It's graded to.
How big of a grate are they?
The grates are,
Got enough problems over there with mosquitoes. I don't need more.
they're your standard yard inlets, so they're 2 feet by 2 feet.
Okay, that's pretty big. That's
Yeah.
big. All right, yeah, that's a problem for me anyway.
Hey,
That's
I
one
should say.
problem I have.
Yep.
Thank you.
And just to ask a question, if the water is currently going there over land and potentially gathering in that area on the land,
Mhm.
that's gonna be far worse for mosquitoes than if you're actually letting it drain underground and bring it to the basin.
Absolutely, yes.
So we're improving the condition.
We are improving the
No,
condition.
I think if water's sitting there, it's not improving it. It's gonna be like a nice little water for them to always be there.
Again, your testimony is that the water's not sitting there, that the pipe is actually on an elevation, so it drains into the basin.
Yeah, what we proposed here from a grading perspective is actually mimicking the existing condition, except we're now collecting it in an inlet instead of running. Well, the basin itself is built 4.5 feet down, but that's on the other side of the applicant's property from your
This
house.
is, yeah, down here.
Yes.
So at that point though, Hal, you're pretty close to the grade then. You're probably right on grade.
That's about 2.5 feet deep.
Yes.
Deep at those drainage inlets.
So, and Ben, you.
So how big is that pipe though? How big of a piping would it have to be?
It's a 12-inch plastic pipe.
So again, and Ben, you represent the board, not the applicant, so just to help Mr. Pandori here, if the water's currently flowing onto his property from our property and we're collecting it and running it at a pitch to the basin, so do you agree that that's a better condition than letting the water sit or run onto his property?
Yeah, if there's standing water there, then this system is intended to collect that water from the ground,
And treat.
pipe it underground, and bring it to the basin that
I
you saw
understand
over
that.
there.
I understand that, as long as it's not sitting there. Because then it's gonna be a big problem. Okay. Well, I have other questions later, but not comments. Thank you.
All right, other questions from the public? Come on up, take the microphone. Just ask you to introduce yourself, your address, and Mark will swear you in, then you can ask away.
All right, sir, do you swear any testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, self you got?
I do.
And just state your name for the record.
John Johnstone?
Is that JohnstonE?
Yes.
And your address, Mr. Johnstone?
11 Klein Street.
Thank you, go ahead. And can you, why don't you just show us on the map where your house is, so that everybody can get it?
My house is directly across, this is,
Did you say was this?
my house is the corner here, the corner of Holbrook and Klein Street.
Okay.
So it's this house right here. So there's been several statements made to the effect that there's surface water drainage that occurs from this property over here over to Klein Street. I'd like to know how those, what was the engineering basis for those statements being made?
It's based on the topographic survey that our company had prepared.
Okay, the topographical survey probably does not consist of observations of stormwater during major storm events?
I've been to the site on numerous occasions. I haven't been standing there during like a 100-year storm event, but...
Okay, because I have lived on Klein Street for 47 years. So I have seen quite a few storm events. I've never seen any surface water drainage over to Klein Street. All the drainage that I've seen comes approximately from Garrity downhill towards the dead end. Comes from probably 2 houses up Holbrook down towards Klein Street, turns the corner and runs down to the dead end.
But not from our property, right, though? What you're saying, all the stormwater, you're seeing water run down the street.
Sure, but an assertion was made that this stormwater drainage approach that's being taken for this development will improve the stormwater situation at the dead end here. And I submit that this property as developed here has never contributed to the stormwater problem here, and that if it contributes anything at all to the drainage problem here, then it will be a contribution to the drainage down here. It will not be an improvement to the drainage on Klein Street. Klein Street floods to the depth, at my driveway, at my curb, Klein Street floods to 10 inches at the curb. In front of the house next to me, it probably floods 14 to 16 inches at the curb.
So, since Mark was right, you gave some statements, I just want to
Yeah,
ask you.
just so the board knows, I mean, that's why I usually don't I restrict them to questions only, because invariably statements are
Right,
going
and
to get,
I'm not
and I think it's the right
objecting.
thing to do.
So because you gave all the statements, I just have a couple questions based on what you said. So again, that's great that you don't see sheet flow over our property into Klein Street.
Sure.
The testimony was, though, that the grading of our property, whether or not it gets there fast enough so you see it sheet flowing like you do down the gutter,
Sure.
we're not saying it does. What we're saying is the way this is graded, it all grades this way. That's where the water's going because water runs downhill.
It
So
does.
if this is the high point and this is the low point, our water is getting there. That's where it is currently going. So if you have an existing condition now where all this water is coming from here, we're not gonna have any impact on that because, again, this is caused by off-site, that's not related to us.
Okay.
To the extent that there is water getting there now, the state law requires us that whatever water is getting there today, we have to hold it on site so it goes off of our site in more time.
Sure.
So basically, it has to be less concentration over a longer period of time. So whatever's currently going there, whether you see it or not, is gonna now be held here. So then this is all gonna still happen, we're not having any effect on this. And then this will eventually come out to here, presumably after the height of the storm. Is that an accurate representation in layperson's terms?
That is, and if I may add to that
Sure.
too, Klein Street is a crown roadway, and you're on the southbound side of Klein Street, right? So the runoff draining off of our property at the Klein is essentially being collected on the northern side of Klein Street. So you may not truly realize.
It is, but during a major storm event, the entire width of Klein Street is flooded up practically to number 10 Klein Street.
Right, so you understand that when he testified that it was gonna be better, it was because the water that we currently have going there, whether it's overland in a fast sheet flow like on the street or not, is gonna be held on our site and let out in a slower pace after most of that heavy stormwater has already gone through, so.
Okay, so you're saying none of the water will be added to Klein Street during a rain event?
No, that the same level of intensity that goes there today from our property is now going to be retained on our site, correct?
Yeah, and runoff released from our site will be a much reduced peak runoff rate to the system in Klein Street.
Okay, that's
For
the
the
part I
210 and
don't
100.
agree with, but that's my opinion.
Did
You know, I have seen events where worst case runoff from Westfield actually flooded through the backyards of Westfield, came through Holbrook and
Right.
contributed to what you're talking about, but I've never seen that event
No.
occur.
No, we're not saying that there was ever a river of water coming off of our site, we never said that. But during a rainstorm event, our site is invariably contributing to what's being collected in Klein Street.
I just believe that all that, there is no roadway here, all of that runoff goes through the ground and becomes groundwater before it gets to Klein Street. That's my opinion. Anyway, I think I've adequately expressed my time,
Yeah,
expressed my.
and just to add one more thing, it's gonna continue being groundwater because it's all gonna be piped. So any groundwater that was going to that area is going to continue being groundwater. It's just gonna come out slower because we're gonna have a 4-foot deep basin to hold it on site in the meantime.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's not even done.
Other questions from the public?
Mr. Chairman, can I just add something to that last discussion? I think Mr. Johnstone, I think I got your name right, brings up a good point, and I had a conversation with Mr. Haberman a few minutes ago, that although the stormwater management report demonstrates that they are meeting the required reductions that are required by the NJDEP, the concentration of flow goes through one pipe to one drainage inlet on Klein Street. So all of the flow is gonna end up in one spot, whereas previously it was running off in different directions, sheeting off the existing land. So we don't have a demonstration of the existing pipe network handling that concentration of flow now in the major storm events. So that was something that I had mentioned to Mr. Haberman. I believe he's gonna address that when they make their stormwater revisions as well.
Yes, yeah, we spoke right before or I guess during the pause there. One item is the spillway that I believe that we have a solution, just looking through the design and thinking how we can propose that, and we'll return to the board and present that. And the other element, yes, I'll work with Mr. Malik on the, just to provide the capacity calculations to ensure that it's adequate.
Right, and that'll involve Greg, I assume, because I think his office probably mapped it all, right? Or do you have that?
Potentially, yeah, I
Okay.
don't have that.
Okay.
And obviously, those revisions will be in more than 10 days before the hearing for adequate review by our experts.
Yes.
All right, let me just swear you in.
Who's running the show?
Do you swear your testimony you're about? Do you swear your testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
To state your name for the record.
My name is Tom Rowe, 2010 Fanwood Street,
And Mr.
which if
could you spell the last name?
REU. Simple, can't get any simpler than that.
Okay, and your address again?
2010 Fanwood.
2010
Family.
Falmouth. Okay.
My house is right here. So, to the southwest of the cul-de-sac. So, the only I did have an opportunity with Jen and the staff to ask a couple of questions. And there's a follow-up question I had. I apologize. We were right in the middle of planning for a snowstorm when we had our meeting, so I was a little bit distracted, being the director of OEM. Just the question I had was, you had mentioned that there is a pipe going from Klein Street, and I believe it's into an easement somewhere. Where is that, do you know?
There's a few inlets here that collect and route through. They route between these two properties here. There's an easement in place.
And that's an easement to who, the township?
I'm not aware. We're just,
Let me see what.
yeah. We don't show it on this exhibit.
Show me.
I believe it's on some of the mapping between, yes,
Okay, so it's part of the municipal infrastructure?
yes.
Okay. So, do you know how big that pipe is? And is it still functional? The only reason I ask is because I've lived in this town, in this house for 40 years, and I've been seeing a fair amount of additional flooding over the years, just like Mr. Johnson has. And especially on the 29th of September until the 2023, which was the biggie. So I had a lot of water in my backyard, and I'm just trying to figure out if there's something I need to worry about there.
All right, so you're worried about the pipe from Klein to Fanwood?
Right, into the system. The system is, well, if you look at the system on Fanwood, and I'm sure Ben would concur with me, it's woefully
So
not good.
That's one of the things, if that's where our water's going, that we're gonna have to look at and show that there's capacity.
Appreciate it, thank you.
And Ben, this system that they're linking into discharges into the Poplar?
Yeah, I believe that's where it ends up. There's a lot of residential houses between this property and Poplar Brook, so I don't have the township stormwater map in front of me, but that's most likely where it goes.
Okay. Come on up.
Want to take your seat?
I swear you in, and then name and address for the folks who don't know.
Let me swear you in. Do you swear testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And to state your name for the record?
My name is Amy Stewart, and I live at 10 Klein Street.
I'm sorry, 10
Klein Street.
Klein Street, thank you. And can you just point out for everyone which street that is, which house it is?
Oh, that's me right there.
Right next to our
Yep.
easement.
Can you just talk to me about the basin a little bit more, like how it functions and what it's gonna look like and what happens if it doesn't work?
Sure. I guess. So the stormwater basin, it's excavated below the surrounding grade, so in actuality, you won't see it from your property, from the properties that front along Klein Street. In addition, we're planting a bunch of those evergreen plantings along the property line in back of your lot, as well as in back of the property next to Lot 5. So that'll be screened from the adjacent neighboring properties. That basin is designed, we performed a number of what's called stormwater test pits on site to make sure that we
Just so you
had.
know, Amy used to be the board secretary for many years, and she's currently the deputy clerk, so she's read a few test pits. She's
Yeah.
had them submitted.
We performed a number of infiltration readings on the soils there and found that it was more than adequate to perk the stormwater runoff into the groundwater table. So that's why we've designed this sand bottom stormwater basin, so that when runoff from the entire property gets routed there, partially infiltrates into the groundwater table through that sand layer. And the larger storm events, there's an outlet control structure, a big concrete box that controls the release of the higher storm events to a pipe that goes underground.
And it's required to completely empty within 72 hours, that's the
72
requirement.
hours is the requirement, and, there's maintenance obligations that we're required to abide by based on the operation and maintenance manual that we'll have to record on the deed of the property. There's inspections that are required and outlined in there that have to be done biannually, and also after certain rainstorm events. So in the event, if something's not functioning, anybody can make a complaint and to Ocean Township, file that complaint and approach, the HOA or the property owner, say there's an issue, and contact that owner to make a corrective action.
So you said it was raised, but it's not raised,
It's excavated into the ground, correct?
It's dug out instead of raised. So the 4.5 feet is down.
and then fence
It's
Yes.
4.5 feet down, and then the fence around the edge of it, so no one can fall into it.
and then bushes around
Yep.
Yes.
On your side, yes.
Thank you.
Any more questions from the public for this witness? Seeing none. Any more questions from the board?
We do. You said we're putting 6 houses there, potentially, and we have 6 lots. I think it's lot B, C, D, F, G, and H. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are they all conforming, those 6?
They're conforming from a lot area perspective, so they
Is
meet.
lot B conforming?
It meets the minimum 10,000 square foot lot area requirement, correct?
Lot C conforming?
Yes.
Well, wait.
Wait a minute,
for
but
the sake
they're
of-
not
For
conforming.
lot area.
Not
Let-
conforming,
Wait,
right?
no, just for lot area.
Just for lot area.
We need variances for them, so if you'd like
Yes.
them to go through
All
lot.
6 of them?
No, so
No.
if you'd like them to go through lot by lot and
Yes.
what variance we can explain what they are, we're happy to do that. And again, if you look at, I don't know if you got it or not, my notice goes through it in painful detail.
Let's start with lot B.
Yeah, I have a
Go ahead.
copy.
We've already said lot A with the front yard setback.
lot B, let's start with
Lot B, great. So lot B, let me pull my site plan up. Lot B is actually fully conforming.
Lot B is fully conforming?
Correct. Yep.
Alright, and C?
Lot C has a minimum lot width variance for not meeting the 100-foot minimum requirement. It is at 93.2 feet.
How about lot D?
Lot D has the same variance relief requirement. That width is at 94.1 feet.
Lot F?
Lot F contains a lot width C variance for 93.3 feet, as well as what was classified in Mr. Higgins' letter as a technical variance for the lot depth based on the rear yard, how the rear yard setback is
That's the one
defined.
that's right on the property line.
Correct, yes. So how it is without a building on the site, the depth is technically from the street to the southern property line, so it's more restrictive. So that lot depth is 62 feet.
And Mr. Pruitt, just to be clear, I know Mr. Higgins likes to use the term technical, there's no such thing as a technical.
Yeah, no, I know you mentioned that.
It's either a variance or it's not a variance.
It's just a C
The
variance. yeah.
variance is a technicality.
Technicality.
It's not a technical variance, and that we still need it.
It's a technicality based on the definition of a rear yard and
You're
how a
fine.
house would be situated.
I just don't want the board to think that somehow it's less important of a variance than technical.
No.
Well, in fairness, again, the ordinance is drafted for conforming lot shapes and, square lots. So when you have a cul-de-sac that comes in and you have a lot that isn't square to start with, the configuration of the lots are a function of where the road has to be and what it does. So it's technical based on the dimensions of the proposed lot.
I'm not disputing that, what I'm saying
No,
is.
you said they're all the same, they're not all the same.
It's still a variance.
100%.
So I don't want the board to think that somehow,
No,
because it's somehow a technical variance, that it's not as important as another
No, no,
variance.
no, it's-
They're all equal variances.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's-
So
there's-
back to lot G.
and I agree with that.
Lot G is fully conforming.
That's fully.
Yes.
Lot H.
Lot H contains a lot width variance as well.
So
That-
lot
So-
C.
That width variance is on the cul-de-sac side, not on the.
But we need lot
Let's
C,
put down.
D, F.
And H for lot width.
Require variance.
Correct.
So just to piggyback off of Lewis's, why not just eliminate a lot and then you wouldn't need any variances?
It's a function of, you know, there's a proposed roadway on this lot, on this property as well, so it's a function of the right-of-way width you have for the road and how deep that you can make these lots based on the width of the roadway. So you lose some depth there, but again, it's still consistent with the R4, in terms of the lot width definition, it's consistent with the R4 zoning standards,
But,
which is,
you make a good point.
yeah.
Yes, we could have significantly oversized lots, but we were also looking at, you can't look at one element of the ordinance requirement, meaning you can't look at lot width in a vacuum and then lot depth in a vacuum, you have to look at it in totality. When you look at what the governing body at the time intended for development here, they said you need 10,000 square foot lots. And again, this is whether it's an office or whether it's a residential home. What the testimony has been so far is that because we're developing it consistent with the R4 homes and we're foreclosing any right to have the office, the 100-foot width isn't necessary because we're on this internal roadway. But to just also go a step further, when you look at lot width, the purpose of it is, you know, to have the uniform streetscape, that you don't have, you know, one little, one big, and it's uniform. In this particular instance, the lot width variances, the only impact are within this one neighborhood. This isn't a through street, this isn't, you know, an existing street where cars are going. These lot width variances are a function of only what this one development is. So the impact of it is none as it relates to the character of the neighborhood, because it's essentially creating its own neighborhood, mimicking the neighborhoods that surround it. So again, that's not gospel, but
No, I get it. I
that's the
understand the
applicant's
rationale.
position is, we're trying to give the appropriate density that the ordinance complied and work within the lot shape we have, as well as the requirements for the roadway and the basins, and if we didn't have to do a basin, we wouldn't need this variance.
Yes.
But because we have to do a basin, we have to fit it all in within that confine in order to achieve what the ordinance says. You can have X number of lots on this size land, provided you can make it work. Now again, if we were in a neighborhood and we're on a straight linear street, and every house next to us at 150 feet, and we were just creating 6 lots at 90, well, that would be different. That would be an impact to the character. But here, this is the character.
Did you consider any other layouts when you were designing this? Were there any other, was it all cul-de-sac down the middle?
We conceptually, we looked at a few different layouts, but we found that with the roadway in the middle of the site, it was the most efficient layout to create the amount of lots that were desired.
But I'm sorry, Mr. DeFilia, did I say it right that time?
Ophelia,
DeFilia.
you're getting there.
The G throws me every time. I don't know that there is another way to do it.
Oh, I don't know if there is either. I'm just asking if, you know, if this was just a function of, you know, the simplest design, or if there had been other ones that might have resulted in less variances required, but maybe lost lot. Just trying to think through, 'cause some of these lot lines are a little funky. I think we can all agree. Yeah, I was just curious.
But
I think, yeah.
make a suggestion, is that there's clearly possible to do a fully conforming subdivision with one less lot. And maybe what the board needs to see is what that would look like and compare the potential footprints of residences on a fully conforming subdivision as opposed to the footprints of residences on what's being proposed here. And also whether or not the larger lots would also permit other accessory structures such as small courts, swimming pools with patios and so on, just so the board can see the impacts of a fully conforming subdivision versus what's proposed here.
Right.
And when I say fully conforming, the drainage basin could become part of a residential lot and just be an easement. So that residential lot could be much larger also. And that's the type of thing that I think needs to be looked at. I started looking at it, but I don't want to advise the board in the vacuum.
No, and that's fair, and I think, again, until we got here and got all the feedback from the neighbors and from the public, we could only go on the feedback that we had from all of the professionals. And I think all of the professionals didn't necessarily see this as a heavy lift, just as it relates to the lot width, because we're meeting the density and, you know, we have the ample lot. But I think it's important for you to see that if we did lose a lot, what it could potentially mean by way of much bigger houses that are out of character and/or a lot more, you know, tennis courts, swimming pools and the like, that maybe wouldn't fit necessarily. So I think what we might need to do is take a look at showing what could be developed on the lots, not what we're proposing to develop, but what could be developed on these lots versus what could potentially be developed if we did lose a lot and we had much bigger lots. So that's something we'll definitely take a look at.
I have a question for the engineer. What number, like quantity, constitutes to need a basin? Like the second you do 2 houses, the second you do 3 houses, you do 1 house, you don't need a basin.
So it's interesting. This project is unique because we do have a public street. So one of the main reasons we need that basin is because we need to treat the runoff from that public street.
Okay.
So if you're designing a single family lot, like off of an existing roadway, you could probably do some kind of a seepage pit in the backyard or something, depending on the size, but it's still a basin.
It's still a basin, it's just a different kind of basin. Any development requires stormwater management.
Of course.
Everything. So I think what you're asking is, when do we have to do this above ground basin?
Yeah, I think that's just a concern for people whose backyards back up to it. You're looking out your bedroom window into a basin if you live on Fanwood Street and Clinton.
You're not gonna see it based on the landscaping, so you're not actually
I
looking into
mean,
it.
in 10 years, you're not gonna see it. Like, there's obviously a growth period for vegetation.
At the initial time of planting, those plants will be, what, 5-6 feet about at the time of planting, based on our landscape
What about
schedule.
the second floor?
The second floor? Oh, you might see part of the basin at the time of construction, yes, and for a few years, but the intention is for it to allow it to fully grow, and then it'll be completely screened off, once it does have that opportunity.
Any other questions from the board?
What is the material for the basin? Like what does it look like?
It's a 6-inch sand layer.
Okay.
And then, yeah, just, basically, that's all you're gonna see from the top of it. It's just basically looks like a sand.
One of the things I was gonna suggest is maybe in between the hearings is drive through Toll Brothers and because I mean, these $1 million homes are built on the basins. So it's not like looking at a basin is such a detriment. I mean, some people would rather look at a basin than a tennis court, for example.
I'm looking at a basin in my backyard, that's why I have
Okay,
this.
but I don't know if it's the same basin. I don't know how that one's designed. Next to the firehouse, you're looking at a basin,
Ocean Park,
huh?
Park at Ocean, it's the same one you proposed, I would assume.
Well, what is it?
Park at Ocean,
What street is that on?
it's Woolly Court, there's one street.
Park at Ocean. I know you're near the. you're
I
near the
just know how I feel looking at it, so.
Okay, so we'll take a look at that also, and what, okay, we'll take a look at it and see if it is comparable, I don't know.
Is there any type of design that could maybe make it look a little more green or a little some other option?
In this case, we did look at the potential for what's called a bioretention basin, but those require 18 to 24 inch, basically biomedia surface layers, and we're really restricted by the seasonal high water table, so we only have a certain distance that we can build to the bottom of that basin, and the 6-inch sand layer is the most efficient type of system we could use here.
Yeah, I mean, there are different ways to
Build
meet
a
the
basin?
requirements of the New Jersey stormwater management rules. This infiltration basin does meet the requirements. They've gotten more restrictive over the years, and it is one of the kind of simplest ways to address that requirement.
All right, any other questions from the board for this witness? All right, Ms. Krimko, looking at the time, do you want to, I know that we're gonna come back and discuss stormwater again, do you want to call in, do you wanna bring up your traffic expert this evening?
What time are you gonna go until? And that'll help define my answer.
I'm looking at my board members here.
It's 9:30 now.
Yeah. So.
We should open to the public to get public comments.
Yeah, I think that
because
might be more helpful, is to
I
get
think
the,
it would be.
to get the, if you allow public comment, and we can take some notes on that, see what we can do to address their comments. And then when we return, you know, again, the traffic testimony, Ben's office took no exception to anything in the report, it's pretty straightforward. So I think that the comments, well, they're gonna object to traffic, because they don't want anything built here, at the end of the day, it's not gonna be specific to the traffic testimony. So I think maybe if we open it, that might be helpful.
So, is the board amenable to that?
Yeah.
All right, so the members of the public, now is your chance to come up and share your feelings and thoughts, concerns, more questions. This is your time. Come on back up, grab the microphone, just introduce, if you've already been sworn in, Mark does not need to swear you in again, just reintroduce yourself for the record.
And I will make clear that at the next meeting, there will be another public comment at the end of that meeting as well.
Yes, there will be.
Okay, go ahead, just restate your name, sir?
Fiore Pandori.
Yes, and you're still under oath.
All right, just got the one question. The cul-de-sac is not the right dimension, right? It's shorter than it's supposed to be.
No, it is the right dimension.
42 feet, you said, and it's supposed to be 50 feet or so? Didn't they say that earlier?
So,
The diameter of the cul-de-sac
Yes.
is not what the ordinance says, but the state law supersedes the
They
ordinance
accept
and
it?
meets the state law.
Okay, because I'm just looking at the size of the lots too, and I'm thinking that, I don't know what they're gonna build, and isn't there setbacks, like
Yeah.
front to back, left to right?
yeah, we're not asking for any variances from that, we're gonna.
Okay, so if you have a lot that's only 30 feet wide, let's say, or whatever, the bottom one, if that's 40 feet, and you build a house on it, don't you need a setback? And don't you need left and right?
No, so Jim, I'll let you take this as the
Yeah,
planner.
okay, the setback is from the edge of the right-of-way, which is actually farther, probably about 6 or 7 feet beyond the pavement. So if it's a 30-foot front setback, it's gonna be at least 36 feet from the paved surface of the road.
And then left and right, isn't that still 25 feet?
Left and right, it will be 10 feet on each
I
side.
thought,
Side
it's
property
20
lines.
now?
What?
It changed to 20, I thought it was 25.
10 feet on each side,
Well, that's 20 feet.
that's what I said.
I thought it was 25.
It might be in this zone, it might be 25 feet
My
combined.
house was 25.
Yeah.
So I have the zone, did
Yeah.
you keep my zoning, or did you give me?
And
I
then
think I gave you
the
that.
height, what is the height again?
35 feet.
Because mine was 26 feet. So would it
But
change?
that's what the ordinance says now.
So when another 10 feet
What?
in height?
That's what it did.
So he's,
Horrible.
may I call you, wait, you want me to? So again, it's minimum side yard of 10 feet, both sides 25 feet, so
Yeah,
that's the same.
25 feet.
So you were right with the
Yeah,
combined.
Yeah,
The building height is 35 feet in your zone, so I don't know why anyone would
I
have,
was at 26 when I did it changed my whole layout of my house.
I can't
Yeah.
speak to it.
your house is how old?
Well, I did it 17 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
So the ordinance may have changed.
The ordinance changed about.
No more, don't go more
Yeah,
than
yeah,
26 feet.
yeah. And the ordinance is gonna, hopefully gonna change again to reduce that 35 feet.
Yeah, because now they have 3 layers up there,
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
stories.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Come on up. You're already sworn, so just introduce yourself again for the record.
Yes, John Stone from 11 Klein Street. Maybe I just will rephrase some of the concern I had before. There is a storm drain that will pass through the property. Just asking the question then, is there a storm drain that's going to be passing through lot 5 then, from this new development over to Klein Street?
Yes.
Okay. During a rain event, will there be any water in that storm conduit?
Yes. Well, it depends on, if it's a smaller storm event, it's intended to infiltrate and stay outside of that outlet.
Sure.
For the larger storm events, it drains out of that basin into that pipe that routes through lot 5.
Yes, okay. So it will contribute to the water in Klein Street during a rain event, if it's a substantial rain event.
Just as it does in the existing condition as well. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's where I disagree. I don't believe that water from that area does contribute to
So, Mr. Johnson,
Klein
let me
Street.
just say this. This is not to discredit what you're saying. I mean, what you're saying is probably true. The problem is, you're not an engineer.
I
And
thoroughly understand.
we have an engineer telling us that this isn't a problem. So you have until the next meeting. I welcome you to get an engineer.
Sure.
Hire an engineer to come here and present to the board that it's a problem, if you believe it's a problem. But I can tell you that his opinion, because he has the license, supersedes your opinion, unfortunately.
I thoroughly understand. that.
Okay,
We're just
so
expressing
you
my-
have some extra time if you wish
Yes.
to hire an expert of your own.
And I just want to add on that, you know, Ben represents the board, and he reviewed everything we submitted and didn't take exception to it. So it's not just Jeff's opinion, it was also reviewed by the board's engineer.
Right,
Sure.
and I did say before, after you spoke the first time, that I'm asking for additional calculations and verification that that pipe that you're talking about, that is gonna discharge into the existing system on Klein Street is not going to negatively impact that system.
Okay, sure. I just wanted to offer my 47 years of expert eyewitness testimony rather than an engineering opinion.
Anyone else from the public? No one? Sure?
So what date are we looking at?
I was just gonna say something.
Oh, we're gonna need a little
I
bit
was
of
thinking
time.
zoning board, so that's why I just said April 16th, and that's not right.
No, we won't be ready by then.
Yeah, I'm wrong, I was wrong though, because, so it's April 27th, you were right, for the planning board, and then it's May 18th for the plan, so it's either April 27th or May 18th.
You won't get it.
You'll have only 2 weeks to get it.
No, as much as my client's gonna want me to do it in April, I think May 18th is more realistic. We have quite a bit of work to do in order to get ready. So we'd ask that it be carried without any further notice.
All right, if that's okay with the board, I'll make the announcement.
Is that okay with everybody else? Yeah, we're good.
All right, so that everybody understands, this application is being carried to the May 18th meeting in this room at 7 PM. You're not going to receive any further notice, so put in your phones now or your calendars now, whatever device you have, to be here May 18th at 7 PM in this room. Okay, this is your notice, the only notice you're going to get.
Unless you want to watch this again at home on YouTube.
Yes, sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
Thank you.
all right, with that, do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Moved by Vice Chair Palutis, do I have a second?
Yeah.
Second by Mr. Ramey, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.